And a big congrats on Biosphere. It's funny, heartfelt, and it's an entertaining post-apocalyptic film that has a lot to say, and I love it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, for our viewers, first things first, describe Biosphere in your own words without revealing anything.
It's always so hard to talk about this movie without revealing anything. But it is, Biosphere is about the last human on Earth, played by Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown, living in a biosphere. And it's what happens when they run out of food and they need to learn to survive and adapt.
Very well said. So first things first, you're an accomplished producer, writer, president of a production company, and now you're a director making your debut with Biosphere. So give us the genesis. What made you want to co-write and direct Biosphere?
Yeah, the plan was always that I'd be a writer-director, and then somewhere along the way, I took a major detour and spent 10 plus years producing everybody else's project and eventually running Duplass Brothers Productions. But there was always this like, I got to get back to the main plan, and I would do, direct TV, started writing some TV episodes of ours. And, Mark and I would go back and forth and say, what's going to be the first feature film for Mel? And he'd pitch me a lot of ideas that were sort of half formed. And when he pitched this one, which is about the last two men on Earth living in a biosphere, something about it to me said, this is the one. I love science fiction. I saw a lot that I could do there, play around with. And I think the fact that it was the last people on Earth being men, I saw a lot of cool opportunities to examine toxic masculinity and male intimacy, especially from the perspective of a woman.
Yeah. So how did it feel when you first saw your name was directed by on the big screen for the first time?
Oh, it's magical. Yeah. Honestly, what was the most magical was being at the premiere at Toronto, being in a massive room full of people and hearing them laugh at a line of dialogue you wrote. That was more magical than anything.
Oh, now your film benefited greatly from the incredible chemistry between Sterling K. Brown and Mark Duplass, who also co-wrote the script. What were some of your edicts when giving them direction? Did you give them direction at all?
I did. I gave a lot of direction. No, but they helped build their characters, and I always leave some space. So I left them space on the edges for them to kind of take what I'd written, specifically the dialogue, and allow them to make them their own. And then it was really about, some of there's the technical, there was a lot of technical directing we had to do in this because we were in a very tight space. We had a lot of very specific camera moves. And then it was just really always like calling it back to the relationship and where they were at with each other more than anything in any one given moment.
You know what, you've worked within so many capacities with Mark Duplass, right? You co-wrote with, you're co-writing with him and also directing him. Did your dynamics change at all?
I would say they evolved. Mark and I have done so many films together, and especially like where we're kind of the last two standing, having to finish it out. Sometimes, even past the director, because they're like, I gotta go move on and do the next thing. And so we've just really developed this knack for understanding each other, anticipating what the other is going to say, and just kind of challenging each other, which we were able to do on this and more. And I think the way it evolved was, for the first time ever, I saw Mark kind of step back and go, you run this, as opposed to like, he tends to want to chime in more, which I always appreciate. But he kind of, at a certain point, was like, I'm going to go be an actor. Let's try this out.
Oh, now Biosphere is a buddy movie, sci-fi film, a comedy, a drama. I mean, it's a lot of things. And putting all this together and still coming up with an affecting film is hard to do. So let us in on your secret, Miss Mel.
I feel like the secret is always comedy. Make people laugh, it keeps people interested. It breaks down, the barriers and the walls people put up, and allows them to be more open to things they might not normally be. You get them in with laughing. And if you lose them, you bring them back with laughing.
Oh, you know what? I was watching the film. I was like, wow, this is almost like there's a little bit of My Dinner with Andre, and maybe a little bit of Biodome, and maybe a little bit of this. And I mean, but they all, mix well together. What were some of your inspirations in making the film?
I don't know if there were specific inspirations so much as just a lot of things that had seeped into me that I'd collected over the years. I think when you make your first feature film, there's always this feeling of like, this might be the only time. So I'm throwing in everything that I want, which I did. It was science fiction, gender, politics, magic. So all of those themes influenced me, but I couldn't point to any one thing.
Oh, so I was going to ask you. So, which one weighs heavily? The magic, the science, the gender when conceptualizing it, or did it matter?
All of them were, such a huge part of it. I love researching and reading science books, so this was a good excuse to spend a lot of time in there. And, so I wanted the science to be plausible, and to create a base level where people could buy into it, because I'm about to do some crazy things that are very unrealistic. So there was a lot of that. And then, really wanted to bring about some themes that I think are important for us to talk about and to analyze, and try to find new ways to bring it to audiences that might not normally seek out these conversations.
And finally, what do you hope for viewers to get after watching Biosphere?
My hope is that it is I think we live in a society where society is very afraid of people who want to break definitions and define themselves in their own ways, as opposed to the society norms of defining a human being. And I want that breaking down and redefining of us each as individuals to be a hopeful thing, not a scary thing.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. Your movie has a lot of hope, and that's what I love about it ultimately.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope that's what people get, is hope.
And there's a little bit of me that wish and hope that I will have what Mark Duplass is having in the film.
Yes, without saying too much. Yes, that's a journey.
That's my wish. A big congrats on Biosphere. Again, a movie that must be seen before the end of the world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mel, and good luck on everything, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.